Welcome to Buzz is Building with Joel Smyth. Every Wednesday, Joel joins us for the last block of the show here to provide 5 players with some buzz that you need to keep an eye on in each individual week slate heading into it. This week, for week 15, our focus is right at what matters here, Joel. It's the playoffs. Fantasy matchups to exploit this week. What's going on, buddy?
Yep, we got 5 of them today. It is fantasy playoffs. They're here, round 1, so I'm excited.
How many playoff matchups you got cooking this week? Like, what's burning on your brain right now?
I don't play in many leagues. I like keeping it short. So I think I have 5 this year, and in 4 of them, one is a dynasty league that we're rebuilding right now. So taking our time.
Hey, that's totally good. Yeah, I've got about the same. Honestly, I try to not play in like a bajillion leagues anymore too. I remember like the first year I was in this industry full time, I did like 25 leagues, and it was a horrific experience. No, we'll never do it again. And even sometimes when my friends ask me like, how many leagues you play? And I'm like, yeah, like 7 or so. And they're like, that's disgusting. Way too many. I'm like, hey, it's lower than it was before. We're trending in the right direction, folks. And so are these players here that we're going to talk about. They're trending in the right direction as we got some matchups to exploit this week. Let's start with your first player, Travis Etienne, Jacksonville Jaguars running back.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Etienne right now. With the second half of the season, his volume has been going up and up and up. It's number 6 in the second half among running backs, so that's great. But the big thing here is just this Jets team. They are not good. They don't have a quarterback right now. The Jaguars are projected to win by a bunch. There's just so much set up for Etienne. Specifically, though, since that Quinnen Williams trade, along with that Sauce Gardner trade, that defense, they've been 32nd in rushing points per game allowed, partially because of that game script, but a lot of it just they've not a good running defense without Williams, especially. So Etienne, a guy that in his wins, he has been dominant on the ground when the Jaguars are winning, and we would expect them to against the Jets.
Travis Etienne's just been really good this year, and I think we talked about it earlier this week. This is not I talked about it in 301 actually with Nate earlier this week, that just not getting enough credit because it felt like everybody else wanted anyone else to be the lead back for the Jaguars. It's going to be Tank Bigsby. Is it going to be Bajal Tuden? Well, it's not been any of those guys. It's been Travis Etienne. He's been very effective this year. He's been particularly effective, Joel, on runs that break to the outside. Like outside zone runs have been a specialty for this Jags team. Liam Cohen's leaned into that with the style of offensive lineman that they have. That's been a great fit for Etienne. And I can just see it. I mean, Jalen freaking Wright had 100 yards on this Jets team last week. A lot of, again, banging things to the outside. You're going to tell me Travis Etienne can't have that level of success? I definitely think so. I actually have him on 2 of my playoff rosters, so I'm hoping to manifest some of this into existence here. I will say I opened up like the consensus rankings tab this week, and I just thought Etienne was way too low. I think he's like a top 10 running back this week.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. In terms of the games they've won, 12 rushing points per game. And when they lose, it's at 6.5. So like half of that amount. I would expect them to win this game. I wish he got a little bit more receiving, especially with this Liam Cohen offense in general. But on the ground right now, you can't really ask for anything better. He's been awesome.
It's a good point. That's probably what explains the receiving or the losing versus winning splits there. It would be nice if he was getting those receptions, but maybe it's something they're going to show here as they get closer to the playoffs, more of that screen package that we've not seen with this team as we did with Liam Cohen's Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Let's stay at the running back position and go to the next player here, James Cook, Buffalo Bills running back.
Yes, and we are talking about matchups to exploit this week. So I do want to say, I do know that the New England Patriots are number 1 against running backs this week or this year. So I get that it is a tough matchup for James Cook, but I think this is one of those spots where it is a start your studs type of game. There's lots of different things to go into this matchup when we break down the context. So number 1 is just there's 2 different things of why the Patriots have been so good this year as a rushing defense. 1 is they're good. But 2 is just the game script. We know their schedule, like it's a laughable schedule. Everyone's making fun of it. They're winning, but it's against a lot of bad teams that they're destroying, and they're not really getting run on too much. So when we break down this actual defense in some of those closer games, if we just look at the yards per carry, the first half, they were the second best in the NFL. Amazing. The second half of the year, though, they've actually been 16th. So it's been more middle of the road. And a big part of that is these last 3 games, they've been without another defensive tackle named Milton Williams, in that interior right there. They've been 27th in yards per carry allowed these last 3 games, and it was against the Jets, Bengals and Giants. So it's not like these dominant running attacks that are beating them. So I think in this game, rematch of what they played earlier, Cook didn't play well against the Patriots last time. But I think if we're expecting a close game, the Patriots haven't had too many. This run defense is a little bit worse. I don't think it is the worst matchup possible for Cook. I think it is more you start your guy that's been your RB1 this season.
Yeah, tough to get away from him almost no matter what the matchup is, because just like, what are your alternatives going to be? But I do agree with you that this Patriots team is still very good, and I generally think the defense does certain things well, but the run defense slipping because of it without Milton Williams is obviously makes sense. Like he was paid a ton of money for a reason, not just as an interior disruptor, but to bring some stability to that interior of the defensive line. And I also think too, the Bills wide receiver room is just, it is what it is. Like, they're not going to get a lot of targets funnel into those guys. I mean, freaking Gabe Davis leading your team in routes in the year 2025, that's a tough look. But that's just going to funnel more targets, I think, not just to the tight ends, Dalton Kincaid, who I really like going forward, but James Cook as well, targeted on, like, I think 20% of his routes in this game against the Bengals. I could see him having a high usage receiving game here as well.
Yeah, he really just needs one play. He has gotten a little bit more receiving this past month or so I do like that.
Okay, next player here, quarterback position, Matthew Stafford, one of the MVP contenders of this season. What do we like about Stafford this week?
Yeah, a lot. It's a revenge game right here. We're in December, and one of the things I look at in December, especially for quarterbacks, is where are they playing? He is at home in Los Angeles in the Dome. He doesn't have to be like in Chicago this weekend where it's negative 20 degrees outside. He gets his nice easy dome matchup against his old team. They are 27th in passing fantasy points per game allowed this year, and they're 31st against receivers, which the Rams target receivers more than anybody. So there's a lot to like here in this passing matchup. That and the game script helps them too.
Also, I don't know if you've looked into this, but I mean, Stafford's been good against everything this year. Like, there's no coverage that foils him. There's no coverage that foils these wide receivers. But particularly against man coverage, he's just absolutely shredded. I don't think he's thrown an interception against man coverage this year, which, again, he's barely thrown picks. That's been one of the stories of his season. But he's been remarkably efficient against man coverage this season. Puka Nacua has been as well. Devontae Adams, you think about those ISO routes where he's getting into the end zone. And obviously, the Lions play a ton of man coverage, regardless of their situation. At cornerback, regardless of who's at cornerback and regardless of who they're going against. Like, they manned up on those Cowboys receivers last week, and obviously CeeDee Lamb didn't play the whole game, but he had like 100 yards right away, and then Ryan Flournoy picked up right off of him. So I feel like this Rams team going against that defense, the high scoring potential is big on both sides. Certainly, I think this is like the biggest total game of the season, but Stafford in this Rams passing game, huge advantage towards them over that defense, I would say.
Yeah, there's so much positive because that you bring up like the highest game total. The Lions offense helps Stafford right here. Just because this Rams defense has been so good, we've had a lot of games like last week, where they put up a lot of points, but in the second half, they're not throwing as much. This could be a game where they put up a ton of points and then they keep having to put up a lot of points against a secondary. Again, like you mentioned, they're without Arnold. Brian Branch is towards Achilles, sadly. They maybe get Kirby Joseph back, but still, like, it's a banged up secondary on top of it.
Yeah, I got Stafford as my QB3 this week. I expect a ton of points in that game. And yeah, there's one team where I've just been having Matthew Stafford as my QB1 for a long, long time, and I did not expect that to be the case. Definitely was not expecting him to be that. I thought he would have a good season if he was healthy. We all thought that, but I mean, the season that he's having here from a fantasy standpoint, despite the fact I think he has negative rushing yards on the year, is very impressive. Obviously, doing that is very impressive for any quarterback. Let's get back to the running back position here with Woody Marks, Texans running back.
Yeah, I like to go deep in a lot of these matchups sometimes and really try to find some weaknesses, different things to exploit, that sort of thing. When it comes to this one, it's really just the opposite. It's as simple as it can be. The Cardinals defense isn't good right now. And you have a guy, Woody Marks, where the offense might not be incredible, but lately especially, he's kind of been that bell cow running back there. Now Nick Chubb is injured. Who knows if he's going to play this weekend? But he led the league last week in the percent of his team carries. So he's getting a ton of work. And then we get a matchup like Arizona. Since week 9, they're dead last in scoring defense. They've allowed 40 points in 3 of their last 5 games. So Marks is definitely one of those players where you need a touchdown from him. In the games with a touchdown, he's averaging 17 points per game. When he doesn't score, he's averaging 5. So you're really hoping for the touchdown here, but it's something the Cardinals, they've allowed 10 touchdowns to running backs these last 5 games in that stretch. So their defense has been horrible. The team in general is kind of all not really put together the best right now. So with the Texans defense, the workload that he's getting, I like the potential for Marks here.
Yeah, all respect to Jacoby Brissett and what they've done offensively, but I just think that offense is going to get taken apart by the Texans defense. And look, if you can still start Michael Wilson if there's no Marvin Harrison Jr., that's fine. Like Bam Knight is a whatever running back 3, kind of maybe a flex play type desperation volume guy, but I just think they're going to be a negative game script consistently, which on the flip side there means it's going to be positive game script for the Houston Texans, which should lead to a ton of Woody Marks. Mm-hmm. He's dealing with a little bit of an injury right now. I think he's probably still expected to play, but Joel, he's probably dealing with an injury because he touched the ball a ton in that game the last week where I was like, he's like scraping himself off the turf a couple of times. I'm like, my God, I don't think this was the vision of like what they thought Woody Marks was going to be when they kind of took him as a scat back type in the 4th round.
Yeah, I think he had 28 touches. He also gets hurt like every single game. So feel bad for him there. He's always playing the next week, but every single week he seems to get hurt. So hopefully he can stay healthy in this one too.
Yeah, definitely think good running back 2 type, and all of the rookie running backs are in interesting spots this week. Woody Marks certainly included there. 5th and final player we will talk about, Stefon Diggs, Patriots wide receiver. And I'll put this to you this way, Joel. I'm very excited to hear what you have to say about Stefon Diggs because I can never get the Diggs week right. The playing time's everywhere, the points are everywhere. I thought we'd be getting the last Bills game. He's playing his former team, the Bills, this week. I thought it was like wheels up from there. Diggs was going to be used every single week. That's not been the case. It's been very hit or miss, been very up or down. What is the outlook for Diggs this week? And I ask specifically because I've got a dynasty team that has Stefon Diggs, and I need to know what to do, Joel.
Yeah, a lot of it is honestly just narrative. They plays the Bills, like you said, that revenge game, just like Stafford. Another revenge game here. So the last time they played, 12 targets, 10 receptions, 146 yards. And another thing that you mentioned there, how much is he on the field? I looked it up. In the games where he's running 60% of routes, he's averaging nearly 15 points per game in PPR. Mm-hmm. It's just the ones where he's only out there for 50% of routes, 45% of routes instead of 70 or something. That's when his games aren't nearly as good. And some of that is the Patriots offense and their defense killing these teams. So hopefully, again, going back to that James Cook thing, is like if it's a closer, high-scoring game, hopefully the Patriots are passing a little bit more because when he's on the field, he's still their wide receiver 1 in terms of targets per route run. The Bills' defense, a little bit on the downtrend too, so I think that helps them.
Yeah, they're kind of mixing and matching personnel. That's a part of it with that Bills defense. They're kind of trying to figure it out over there, but they've got injuries on the defensive line, that's for sure. So the pass rush might not be too much of a threat for Drake May. And yeah, you mentioned it, like when he is on the field, he is still super effective, Stefon Diggs. He's 12th in the NFL in yards per route run right now. He's just ahead of like Jamar Chase. I mean, he's still been really good when he's been out there. It's just trying to figure out when he's going to be out there and when he's not. And I would say if I can go down narrative street on this one too, I do wonder, and again, I'll admit here, I never get this situation right when I'm trying to figure out when the Diggs games are coming or the usage or any of that stuff, Joel, but is this not when you'd want to ramp him up? I mean, it's time to win the division. It's time to win these games. It's time to get playoff seeding, the whole deal. And look, this was the bye. Like you got the bye, you got that 32-year-old body rested up now. This is the time when you'd think Diggs 80% route participation, like these should be the games consistently down the stretch.
Yeah, I'll give you some more, like off the bye. Yeah, revenge game. Yes, he is one of the most incentive-based players in the NFL right now in terms of his contract. So these last 4 games, we got 4 games left. He can make a lot of money if he's on the field and doing well. I think he's going to want to be on the field a bunch, especially against his former team, get those targets in potentially close games. So I like it for him. They're 22nd against the slot too. So he plays half in the slot, 50-50 exactly. So the Bills, below average actually against the slot this season, so that might help as well.
all four of the games out of the bye are AFC games. Obviously, this one against the Buffalo's their biggest, in the division, the contender, whatever. But then the Ravens, the Jets, the Dolphins to end the season. So all teams that Miami should want to beat. Again, conference record's going to matter here when it comes to seeding, everything like that. So definitely think there's some incentive here to ramp him up. And I like you, speaking of incentives, like you pointing out that part. I mean, shoot. I know he just had a kid with Cardi B, but I mean, she's a singer. She's got cash, but like got a new kid. Diggs likes to travel. I've seen the Instagram, the photos, the fashion, all that. Like that stuff costs money. A few more extra catches here or there, Joel, that might do him some good.
Or the reverse. He's dating Cardi B now, so he doesn't need his incentives. So we got to bench him in fantasy football. Either one.
I think the motivation will still be there to, make it an equal partnership. Let's call it that.